Hello, everybody. So today I want to talk a little bit about a meme I don't own. A few people have asked me about it. I've talked about it once or twice before. It's our little toad, Turbo. So, again, if you guys have been here with me a couple of times, you know what I generally target, but make requests. Specifically, it's one that I am familiar with. I'll always talk a little bit about it every once in a while. I've got no problems going ahead and talking about or shilling your own crypto as long as I think it's a good crypto. All right, no problems talking about it. And personally, I've liked Turbo a lot for a meme. I'm not the biggest meme guy. Those who've been around with me know, but I'm not against it. And I always thought Turbo was one of the better ones for several different reasons. So in this video, I want to give you a real brief as to what Turbo is. I'll pull up the chart, give you where I think the main price targets should be. And the individual who asked me specifically about this wasn't so much as a question as well as saying, hey, a lot of people are interested in things like buy limits and selling targets and things like that. And I'm not going to jump in. That's way too close to financial advice. And I also don't know your style. However, I can describe a little bit about it and I'll let you know good entries and things I've done with it. And I will give a price prediction at the end. So hopefully this comes in handy for some of you guys. And again, let's send Turbo to the moon. I'm full support of you guys. And once you guys get your profits from Turbo, feel free to look in and do Foxy. Let's move it both up together, shall we? So Turbo was an AI created meme, and this was like the first thing that was kind of a little gimmick. It was also kind of cool that helped jumpstart it was made by AI. 69 billion tokens, I believe it was. If not, it was million, but I think it was billion. We'll check it in a little bit, I'm sure. But it's got a strong community, and that's what a meme needs, right? Some memes have a kind of use case, but also not really. Turbo did a great job of having a strong community. One, there's been a couple of large influencers that are really big into it. That helps, right? Because when I say community, what do we mean? It means people are willing to buy something and hold on to the damn thing. That's really what a community is, right? Yes, there's Discords, there's stuff on Twitter, which Turbo does a pretty good job with their little cartoons and their GIFs and all that kind of stuff. It can get kind of entertaining. But they got a strong root. And the reason why this matters is stops from a rug pull or it going down to zero, or essentially the people who first created it selling off a massive 40 to 80% of it and watching everything plummet down. Turbo is essentially safe from that, not just because of the community, but the person who made the token, he outed who he is. He said, hey, I'm the guy who did this. And he's not going to rug pull it. Right? When we get these memes that people go ahead and just rug pull, it's because we don't know who they are, who the creator is. So instantly that makes Turbo safe in terms of it's not going to go to zero, right? I'm not saying it's going to 100x or that you're going to, get incredibly wealthy and rich from it. That all depends on when you buy it and when you sell it. But I think it's very safe in terms of we don't have to worry about it disappearing from the founder or early investors or anything like that jumping in. That's a huge plus. Turbo's also been on all the major exchanges right now, which that's pretty impressive for how new it is. I mean, it's been around for 2 years or so, I think, but that's great. People can find it, right? You can't buy something if you can't see it or know where to get it. When it's on Coinbase, Binance, Mexi, OKX, like everything. Turbo's in a great spot for this bull run. We're worried about next bull run, when it comes, if it comes, all that kind of stuff. But Turbo was one that, again, I don't own currently, but I liked it a lot. I made a decent amount of change from it from doing swing trades. I started noticing a pattern previously where it goes from 0.003 cents to 0.007. And I just kept on taking that 3 or 4 times, selling it off when it gets up to 7, wait until it comes out to 0.0035 or less, buying and just doing it back and forth. And that worked really well for me. Yes, they're taxable events. Just make sure you understand the laws and everything where you're at. But that was a great start for me. And that's what I personally like certain memes for, is using and abusing the volatility, right? I am mostly a hodler when it comes to crypto. There's definitely exceptions, and volatile or pattern-based volatile memes like Turbo at least is phenomenal to me. So big fan of it. With that being said, it also tends to swing a lot in a controlled setting, right? I'm expecting this to change soon to larger swings and probably less pattern based as meme coin season two or the bull run or everything comes into play. But always look for patterns. It works out very well for that one. And Turbo is known to have these swings in hills and valleys. We'll pull up the charts in a moment so I can show you some of these as well as the targets I have for them. So right now, the time of recording, Turbo is about a little bit over a half a penny, right? 0.0056. Wonderful. Where are we looking to go with this thing? So what I want to show is if you really want a crypto, again, no financial advice. If you think it's at a decent spot, just buy it, right? You can always DCA to bring your average down. So if you had like 500 bucks you wanted to throw into a crypto and you're not sure if it's going to go up, down, or stay the same, and you want to play a little bit of a D-risk, you can always put half in and then put a buy limit a little bit lower. So based off of what I'm seeing until the bear market comes in, or if there's a large black swan event, I don't think we're going to really go much lower than the 4 cent again. It doesn't really look like it. Looks like it's past a lot of those resistance lines. So if it gets back down to 4.6, when I say 4.6, 0.0046, that's going to be a big buying opportunity if it gets back down that far. And right now we're right below a line I put down here yesterday of a major resistant mark around 0.59. And I'm expecting a resistance, unless something blows out, of right through these two sections of 0.0046 and 0.0056. We got a penny swing, or sorry, a tenth of a penny swing here. So if I was looking for an entry in this again, I'd be looking on the lower end of underneath the 0.005, close to 4.849. And you can see there's a little bit of come and goes with this, but it goes relatively well. And if I want to do a very safe type of swing trade, again, some of you guys might be more of hodlers for everything for this meme, but I have no problems going back and forth between this range. Taking a 20% every time. For small gains, I'm fine for that. But once we blast past around the 6 cents, 0.0059, sorry, not 610, not 6 cents, 6 tenths of a cent. This is where it's going to go. It's to the moon, right? This resistance line is kind of where everything explodes up. And I was looking live at the charts when we end up hitting a penny on it the first time. That was fun and exciting. And so when I say past the resistance of 0.0059, it might be, 0.002 past that, but that's the range. It has to get up, hold it for either blast past it or hold it for the weekend. It'll do absolutely fine. And we have touched a penny on Turbo 3 times, but we've touched the penny a couple of times. And yeah, I very much think that it's going to hit again. Expect Turbo to float around this range now for a little while. I don't think we're going to dip down based off of the chart and really just how the market's going. And the next real big line up that we're looking for, again, this is not fib levels. This is pattern based. We can do fibs on another time. We're looking at 0.008. And that's just above kind of where I said I found it previously of the 003 to 007. So if we go up past the 0.5 and a half, I was going to say I'm not a gambling man. I kind of am. Looking at doing a leverage or a long for up to about 7.5 to 8 tenths of a penny is looking pretty solid to me. Again, personal opinion. And kind of what the chart suggests. Real quickly, when it comes to sell and buy limits, what do I think? What do I recommend for it? And there's a couple different things, right, guys? If I ever have a Discord, which I do not have one, I've got no intent of having one, but doesn't mean I'm not open to it in the future. Those are things I go ahead and tell and share, right? But they would be my buy limits and sell targets and everything, right? Which is the reason why I'm emphasizing that is it comes down to several things, right? Is make sure you have a goal for at least the individual crypto you're buying or all crypto. I don't know what your goal is or your risk tolerance. Right? Maybe I would throw 100 bucks. Maybe you throw 500 into it. Maybe I throw in 1,000, right? It all kind of depends. And I think that makes a difference, specifically if you have a goal of how much you want to make from it, right? If you're looking to DCA in and hodl until it hits a certain price, etc. So this is kind of probably sounded a little bit like not advice, useless kind of stuff, but in all reality, if you have an idea of how much you want to make and you have an idea of how high you think it's going to realistically and safely go, you can then decide what price is worth you jumping into. Because then okay, if I want to make $1,000 with $100, right? I need to 10x this coin, and you think it's going to get up to 10 cents, right? Then buying up to a penny technically would be fine, right? In all reality, I wouldn't recommend anyone sell everything at the price you think it's going to top out at, because if you're wrong, you lost everything, right? If it gets to 9.5 cents, you're screwed. But I mean, it's still the same concept of how high do you think it's going to go? And that will help you decide where your buy-in price is. So price predictions go all over the effing place because they are educated guesses. At most, they're educated, right? Like a lot of times they're not even, specifically with memes. If anyone says, I'm confident it's going to get to this as a top, they are lying or they're delusional, right? You say, I'm confident it's going to hit 2 cents because it hit almost 1.25 back with the major Trump pump, back with the political election, and there's going to be more liquidity coming in from M2 Global, and now it's on Coinbase when it wasn't before. Okay, yeah, I'd be pretty confident. I could step in there and say, sure, it's going to go up closer to 2 cents. But have an idea of where you want to go. And that's actually a good example, I think, right now, right? Is let's say it's around a half a penny. We can buy in right now, fine. I personally am confident that it's going to hit 2 cents. So if I wanted to look for a safe or easy 4x, there it is. And a strategy I personally like to use is, let's say I throw $500 into it. I wait until it gets to 2 cents. I 4x'd. So I pull out 25%, a quarter of what's in there. I now covered my initial investment, and I've got 3/4 to ride out to see, does it hit 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents? And I now can't lose. So I'm very big on protect your own bank, right? Make sure you don't lose money first. Second, make sure you make money. Tertiary, hit the goal that you want. And that's really important, guys. So with that being said, where do I think Turbo is actually going to get to at the end of the cycle, right? And realize I'm not willing to bet my firstborn child on any of this, right? But if I was jumping into Turbo, I would put, where would I say that I think the top, the candle wick at the end, or at the height of the bull market's going to be? I would say there's a pretty good chance of being between 8 and 10 cents, right? If I got back into Turbo, I would not wait until 8 cents to buy it. I personally like, as I described, pulling a chunk out and then DCAing slowly out percentages over time. I could see a world, we'll call it, that's my realistic price prediction. My more bullish one, I could see it getting to 20 or 25 cents. All right. And that is a phenomenal jump from now if I'm right. And I know that there's people saying 50 cents and $1, and believe what you want to believe, make your plan for it and stick to it. But that's what I think, guys. I would be surprised if it went over a quarter, but could always be wrong. All we know is that Elon Musk says Turbo, slaps on his SpaceX, it's to the moon, and then we do what we had with Doge and everything last time, right? So very curious what you guys think about Turbo. Where do you think it's going to go? Again, this is an opinion from someone who does not own it. I've dug into it a bit. I like it, but feel free. Tell me what you agree with. Correct me on everything else. I'm curious what you guys have to think, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.